Good Sunday morning, everyone. I hope you have a very blessed Sunday. It's May the 7th, 2017. The time right now, 4:53 a.m., and that's Eastern Standard Time. Who can forget the 9.0 earthquake and tsunami that devastated Japan and the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear facility and the meltdown? Fukushima radiation makes landfall on U.S. West Coast, and it's only the beginning. Seaborne cesium-134, a radioactive isotope released by the 2011 Fukushima disaster, has been detected on the U.S. Pacific coast for the first time by independent researchers. After the catastrophic triple meltdown of the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant in 2011, the Japanese government and the plant's parent company, Tokyo Electric Power Company, worked to cover up the damage done and downplay the amount of radiation the disaster had released into the environment. Though the disaster's many impacts, have been suspiciously absent from mainstream media reports in the years since, the radiation pouring out of the plant's damaged reactors have never stopped. To this day, 300 tons of contaminated radioactive water flow into the Pacific Ocean every day, as many of the leaks can never be sealed due to the extreme heat. Now, nearly 6 years after the meltdown, radiation from Fukushima has made landfall on the west coast of the United States, signaling a dangerous new era for residents and wildlife along the Pacific coastal regions. Researchers from the Woodhull Oceanographic Institute, a crowd-funded team of scientists, announced yesterday that they had detected for the first time seaborne cesium-134 in seawater on the shores of Tillamook Bay in Oregon. The group has been monitoring the waterborne radiation as it extends from Fukushima across the Pacific for years, according to WHOI, as well as other scientists. Cesium-134, a dangerous and carcinogenic radioactive isotope, could only have originated from the Fukushima disaster due to its short half-life of rate of decay. Look at this fish here. Look at this. The samples themselves contained 0.3 M3 of the isotope, a relatively small amount that some researchers and the corporate media outlets say poses no risk to humans or the environment. However, there is no such thing. I repeat, there is no such thing as safe amounts of radiation, which is particularly true of radioactive cesium, as it imitates potassium within the body. The samples themselves contain 0.3 becquerels/M3 of the isotope. Japanese citizens were also told there was nothing to worry about, despite the fact that cancer rates have spiked since the incident. The real and unstaged danger here is that of bioaccumulation. Bioaccumulation refers to the gradual buildup over time of chemicals in an organism absorbing the substance at a faster rate than it is excreted. My goodness, we're living in the last days, brothers and sisters, and I think there's a little bit more to the article. And again, you'll have the link below. Now that Fukushima radiation has reached the U.S., those living on the West Coast or eating fish from that region could be at risk if they consume radioactive water or fish, as all consumed cesium would remain in their body, continuously causing damage until it is excreted. Children are said to be especially at risk. Another reason why there is cause for concern is that these samples were actually collected in January of 2016 and not tested until recently, suggesting that the landfall may have happened earlier than thought. This, in turn, would also mean that higher levels of cesium, as more of Fukushima's radiation has made contact with western coastal shores, In the months since, as researchers have said, that radiation will not peak until well after the plume's initial landfall. No matter how often the Japanese government, TEPCO, or the corporate media say that radiation from Fukushima is nothing to worry about, ignoring a problem does not make it go away. The world's oceans, particularly the Pacific Ocean, are in the midst of an unprecedented crisis as mass die-offs of fish and coral are signaling that something is horribly wrong. These trends, combined with the devastating effects of overfishing, led the World's Wildlife Fund to recently warn that all mammal life could die off before the year 2050. I don't think we're going to be waiting for that trumpet to sound and to take us home. Less than 40 years from now, it is incredible that a nuclear disaster that has leaked 300 tons of radioactive water in the ocean every day for the last 5 years could have no effect on the massive environmental crisis unfolding before our eyes until Fukushima's consequences are acknowledged and treated with the concern they clearly merit. We will continue to be unable to understand the true scope of the problem, the true scope of the disaster that took place in 2011. Earthquakes, mudslides, landslides, Christchurch, New Zealand, birds falling out of the sky in Beebe, Arkansas, turtle doves in Italy, a lake in Indonesia turning an eerie mist, and all the life in the sea died. Get ready, brothers and sisters. The earthquakes today, volcano activity, solar flares, massive solar eruptions. Get right with God. Accept Jesus into your heart today. God bless you this morning. I will be back a little bit later.